Residential and commercial bond, guys and girls. Today we're going to talk about how much is required for a commercial bond and a residential bond, why they're used in our industry, and how it differs in other places in the world. So stay tuned, and we'll teach you.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Hey guys. I've actually got something to tell you. I tried this new eye treatment on the weekend, Sunday night, thinking if I put this cream on, it's going to help just help rest the eyes, but it's kind of left like this white stain under my eye. So it's probably good this camera's not any closer, but yeah, don't
How do you rest your eyes?
Guys. Hey?
How do you rest your eyes? What was the problem?
I just wanted some cream, a little bit of like, not kind of like moisturizer. I thought it would be to take some inflammation away, but yeah, just don't go experimenting, guys. It's not worth it. Just stick to what you know.
You're trying to look young. Is that anti-aging cream?
Yeah.
No way. So yeah, Billy, you do look younger.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Good thing because we're talking about a big topic this morning.
It's a big
commercial
one.
and resi bonds,
and it's not really discussed by people unless you're in the moment and you've done it. So we get asked in the industry all the time, what do we have to pay when I'm going into a rental property? And then what do we have to pay when I'm going into a commercial property? And it's always, people are always like, okay, great, but I guess you don't learn that sort of stuff at school. You only really use it when you need it, and you're like, okay, tell me all about it.
Yeah, I think most people get their heads around a residential bond when they kind of start looking at moving out for the first time, and I think it's pretty easy. Like it doesn't seem as complicated as commercial, at least, and that's coming from an agent's perspective as well. For residential, it's generally a 4 weeks rent rule, just standard. It doesn't matter whether you're leasing a 1-bedroom or a house, apartment or a house. It's a blanket rule. 4 weeks rent equivalent. That's your bond, and it's paid to rental bond boards online, which is a government body. It's got nothing to do with the agency that you rent through, and that's kind of like it's a deposit, isn't it, really?
Yeah, so I guess it's collateral for if something goes wrong in the event of you not paying your rent on time or damaging the property. In New South Wales, you can't take more than 4 weeks bond for a vacant residential property. So it became legislation that you can't even, ask for more. The thing with bonds are that people, I guess for a landlord, there's a bit of risk there. And the landlord's got to go, well, if you put a little bit of money up front, it's less risk for me. For tenants, it's a fair whack to come up with that sort of money to sit there and do nothing. There are bond services where people you can pay a little bit per week, and they'll put up that bond for you if you don't have that money to put up front.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, I've helped people use those services before. They're really good, actually. And again, it's not like a loan shark who's gonna smash you every week. It's a government organisation which just helps bridge that gap. The other thing as well, guys, of course, if you're coming out of an existing tenancy, you can sometimes inquire about having that bond transferred, so you're not paying effectively a double bond and waiting for one to come back.
Yep. It is tricky. Now, the money for the bonds, they hold a lot of money in the bond board, and the interest rate, you will get a interest rate on that money that's being invested, but it's nothing to write home about. So you can have that bond invested for 10 years in a tenancy, and it would be lucky to buy you a cup of coffee. So I don't get excited about that bond being invested with residential. Now,
Yeah.
is there anything else on Resi we need to cover?
No, I think that's it. 4 weeks maximum. Just make sure you're not being charged any more than that. For a tenant's perspective, it's held through a government organisation, not the agency. That's important to know, and it's standard, really.
And getting it back is often really concerning for tenants, because they often need it to go and take another property, and they're worried because the fact that they may not, there may be repairs or maintenance. Sorry, there may be something done to the property that the landlord doesn't want done, that they feel the tenant's responsible for. So people freak out a little bit when they're exiting a property. So on a clean bond exit, you should see the money in your account within a week. If it does get messy, then it can be weeks and weeks and weeks, and they go in a tribunal situation. A bond can be held. You apply to the tribunal, and then the dispute can be settled in tribunal if it can't be settled out of tribunal.
My best advice on an outgoing tenancy is just talk to your property manager regularly. Make sure the ingoing and the outgoing are, as close as they can be. Let them know once you've moved out, so they can get through as soon as they can, and it'll be smooth.
Big time. Now over to commercial, guys. Real quickly, these are not as regulated as the residential. So generally, you'll pay 3-month bond. As you go a little bit in larger premises, you can go up towards 6 months, and sometimes even a little bit more. And then they can be held in a couple of different ways. They can be bank guarantees. The form they're invested is a little bit different to residential. With residential, it's undisputably it must go to the rental bond board. That does change with commercial, where it doesn't have to go to the bond board. It can be sitting in a trust account, invested. Then there's different types of bonds as well. But people can get confused because you've also got when you buy a property, you can use the deposit bond. So it gets a little bit confusing that way. But today we're specifically talking about rentals and bonds for rentals. Oh, bird's going to attack me.
We're just tuning in for our morning minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was going to land on me, little fella.
So with a it's similar to a Resi application, is it more appealing to offer a bigger bond? Like say 3 versus 6 months, is that common in commercial?
Absolutely. I think in commercial, if you can put up a nice fat bond, it can help you almost get the property potentially, if you're up against some competition, someone else is trying to get it. If you got a big bond, that's nice security for an owner. They may even take a little bit more money if you offer them security. Some owners. So if you're doing a big fat 6 months, that's really showing you've got a good solid cash flow sort of business to sustain the good times and bad times in a commercial property.
And if I'm not mistaken, in commercial, there's sometimes a rent-free period at the beginning. Is that right?
Yep.
So
absolutely.
For example, if you're offering a bigger bond, say 6 months, can you sometimes get your rent-free period extended a little bit longer?
Absolutely. Like I think if you can spunk it up in one avenue, then you could probably ask for a bit of assistance in another avenue. So that works well.
Yeah, cool. And it's good that it sounds like you can have it invested properly, because some people get annoyed when the money's invested with rental bond boards. You pretty much don't get a return. It's non-existent. But you're saying with commercial, you've got a bit more choice.
Absolutely. And again, guys, like, how would you know? Like, if for a commercial property, I had this discussion. People can, assume 1 month, generally always, with commercial, and you sort of got to ask the question. And an owner can, it's a standard across the board 4 weeks with Resi, but an owner in commercial can basically just say, whatever, I want a year, I want 6 months, 9 months, 7 months. So it's quite flexible.
Yeah.
Ask the question.
And
do I look pasty today?
No, it's just a bit glary in the background, but no, it's good. You're in a beautiful spot. It's a landmark location, that.
Yeah.
The residents
Wynyard Station. That's what the hair doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Do you have access to these bonds before the end of the tenancy in commercial?
No.
No.
And something people should be doing is just be really careful with the way that bond's used. I was talking to a landlord last Thursday where she said, "Oh yeah, look, I've got a tenant that's gone bad, but everything's okay. They're a cafe. They're still in the property. They're still operating. They owe $35,000, and I've just used their bond, so now they only owe me, I think it was 15 grand, and they're still there and they're still operating." And I said, "Who gave you that advice? Do not be using that bond while the tenant's in there. You've got to get them out. You've got to get them out, and then you use that bond to sort things out." So definitely don't be using that bond to run the tenancy. And if a tenant says, "Hey, things are really bad, can you use my bond to pay the rent?" I would not be doing that. I would not be doing that.
Yeah, same for Resi. I know that's a big piece of advice. Our property managers give a bond is not used to cover arrears. It's there just as a certainty and to fix things if things go wrong.
And that's when they've left the property, right, or they're intending to leave the property. A lot of this last instance in the commercial property, they'll be like, there was no intention of the tenant going. It's like, they'll catch up, they'll be right. And I was like, no, just bad business.
Yeah. And one last question: do you ever find a big upfront payment puts off small businesses in commercial?
Absolutely.
You're asking 6 months for a little coffee shop. Surely it turns people off.
Big time. You got to have deep pockets. I had a client last night that was looking at opening a restaurant. I was at a wedding and they were interested a couple of months ago. They came into my office to open a restaurant, and the landlord in that one insisted on 6 months. Crushed them. It absolutely crushed them. And they're like, "No, I just can't do it." So the cost of business is expensive. With your fit out and things like that, the cost of business, that bond is expensive. So it adds up.
There you go. I think we've covered it. Anything else to add?
No. I had a big day and night last night. Michael Shilic got married.
Congratulations.
We went to Curzon Hall, and it was a big night. So, bus to work today.
No sickie.
No sickies. Have a great day, Bill.
Congrats, Michael.
Hopefully help you today.
Congrats,
Michael. Yay. See ya. Bye.
See ya.